Today I'm making a video. I've had a request to make a video on why I got into hiking or how I got into hiking. It's really a unique story, really. Back in 6/11/15, I was driving an 18-wheeler on 285 around Atlanta, Georgia. And another driver fell asleep, and when he did, he mashed the gas pedal all the way down, and he hit me running over 100-something miles an hour. And when he did, it threw me forward in the truck, and it messed up my back. Well, after the accident, man, my back was killing me so bad. So they sent me to the doctors, and they sent me to a surgeon, knows about backs and stuff. And he said he wanted to give me 6 months of physical therapy and see how that goes. So I went through all that for 6 months. In the meantime, in between the 6 months, they gave me them epidural shots and all that in my back, and there was nothing working. Well, after the 6 months, I went back for my visit, and he says, I thought I could operate on you and fix you. He said, but if I do, you're going to be paralyzed. And he said, you need to go to a neuro doctor and see, what kind of damage this causes to your nerves. Well, I said, okay, and, left my visit. I went home after that, sat on my couch. Now, I am a Christian. That plays a big part of this, because I am a Christian and I follow my Jesus. And I sat on the couch and I prayed, and I said, Jesus, you know what I need, and that's all I said. Well, the next morning, it's like I heard his voice. He's like, I heard a voice, and it said, get up and walk. Well, I got up and I started walking around the table in my kitchen, and my pain started easing up in my back. So then I started walking. And I was walking with a limp, because my nerves in my leg. So my primary care doctor said, we're going to send you to a pain clinic, which it was more than a pain clinic. This doctor knew how to, operate on you and fix stuff like this. And so I went to see him, and the first thing he said, I can give you pain medication, and we're going to send you for a nerve test to see, what's going on and what happened to it. He said, how long has this been? I said, well, it's been over. He said, has it been over 6 months? I said, yeah, it's been over 6 months. He said, well, if you got any nerve damage, then it's going to be permanent. He says, because if it's not fixed within the 6 months, he said, it's permanent. So he said, I will give you, like I said, he said, I will give you the pain medication, and we'll have that test. I said, no, I didn't come here to take pain medication. I said, I didn't come here to get hooked on your pain medication, and I'm not going to take them. So I didn't take no pain medication. I was still hurting in my back. And so I just, I left it at that. So I went for my nerve test, and the nerve test showed that I had permanent nerve damage, and it runs down to my left leg. Well, Jesus has a way of fixing things. Now, I know I'm not cured. I still hurt in my back, but Jesus taught me how to live with it. And every time I would go for a walk, my pain would ease up in my back. I was still limping, but my pain would ease up in my back. And so I'd go on walks on the, in your neighborhoods and stuff like that. But then I decided, well, dang, if I can walk like that, I could go hiking. Because I was always a person who was out doing stuff in the woods, or going fishing, or doing stuff like that. And so I decided I would get me a backpack. And I got me a backpack, and I went hiking. I decided I'm going hiking on a trail. So I went hiking on a trail. I didn't have nothing in the backpack. Well, every time I kept going, I kept adding a little weight to it. And finally I built up to an endurance, where it didn't bother me to have that on my back. Being out and hiking like that in the woods and peaceful and all that, I had peace. My Jesus gave me peace. even though my back didn't get fixed and I didn't get cured from my nerve damage, it's okay. Jesus taught me how to live with that. So that's how I got into hiking. You know, as I added more weight to my backpack, it didn't bother me. You know, I just kept hiking. I started going on different hikes and different trails. But I already had a YouTube page, but it was called something else. So I decided I would change the name to This Old Man Goes Hiking, and I would make videos. You know, I'll be 65 years old in October, and I feel great, man. I'm ready to tackle. I want to tackle all the way from North Carolina back down to Springer Mountain on the Appalachian Trail. That's one of my goals. And I also have a goal to go to Providence Canyon and do an overnight hike and go out on their wilderness backcountry trail and do an overnight camping trip. Now, a lot of people has asked me this question: am I afraid to go hiking on my own? No, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid because, you know, I follow Jesus, and Jesus guides me on my path. So you can't have fear if you got Jesus, in my opinion. But the Bible verse I live by, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. You know, it's easy for something to happen to us and we sit down and we fall apart because I can't do this no more. I hurt myself. I can't do this. Yes, you can do this. I refuse to quit. I'm not going to lay down and give up and give in. I'm going to keep pushing forward. Now, I'm doing pretty good on these hikes. You know, I've been doing it for, I don't know, a couple of years now. And I'm ready to tackle even further hikes. I do a lot of day hikes. I do a lot of 6-mile hikes. And I'm ready to branch out. I want to go hiking, you know, like I said, on the Appalachian Trail. I want to go hike in Providence Canyon. I want to go down to Florida and hike some of them trails and make videos of all this stuff to inspire other people. You know, just because something happened in your life, doesn't mean you have to quit. You might have to move a little slower. You might even limp or it just might take you longer. But that's okay. You're still moving forward and you refuse to give in and quit. That's how I got into my hiking. You know, I was ordained years back, and Jesus gave me a couple years of season, and I got a chance to go around and share the gospel. Why it was so important that we have Jesus in our life. I'm a strong believer in that. I believe in my Jesus. You know, this world is so evil. This day and time, we seen what happened the other day. And man, that was a sad thing that happened. But Jesus told us this stuff would happen. And so when I'm out on this trail hiking, I'm at peace. I no longer think about my back. Jesus has taught me how to live with this. And when I go hiking, I don't even think about my back anymore. You know, I'm at peace when I'm out on these trails. And I thank my Jesus for this. You know, I know this is a long video, and I'm sorry about it, but I have no other. You know, this is real life. This is in the real world. This is what happened to me, and it could happen to any one of you. But you don't have to give up or give in. You can keep pushing forward and conquer anything that happens in your life, especially if you have Jesus. So I thought I would share this with you, and I hope this inspires other people. You know, like I say, I'm 65 years old. Even though I have pain in my back and I have my left leg with dead nerves in it, my Jesus kept me going. So I just would like to share this with everyone out there. Maybe it will inspire you if you're going through something to keep pushing forward and put your trust in Jesus. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the trail. And this is my story.